Salute to them, yeah.
You probably maybe hit us up after, he hears this on the podcast.
Word.
Whatnot. But speaking of some of the things that go on allegedly go on, I should say, behind closed doors with hip hop execs, Oprah Winfrey, Sandman, is reportedly planning to help tell her part or somebody's part in a new documentary aimed at Russell Simmons being exposed. Now, according to the report from the Los Angeles Times last week, Oprah is serving as an executive producer for a new documentary focusing on brilliant music executive who grapples with whether or not to take her story of being sexually assaulted public. Now, the publication reports that the person of focus in this film is Drew Dixon. Drew Dixon pretty much worked with Russell Simmons at a record company back in the day, and she pretty much claims that Russell Simmons raped her in a Manhattan apartment in 1995. Now, this film will be released 2020 on Sundance Films. It'll be live on Apple TV as well, and it's described as an examination of race, gender, class, intersectional, and the toll assault on victims and society at large. Oprah will be producing this film. Now, in addition to this, Sandman, 17 women have pretty much accused Russell Simmons, of varying degrees of sexual misconduct over the years. Oprah is helping with this film, Sandman. What do you think about this film due to air February 2020?
I don't condone any of this.
Yeah.
What I mean by any of this is men taking advantage of women, sexual assault, any of that. I don't condone that. But Oprah's turning Sophia on us, on these black brothers. Ain't she in 2020? All my life I had to fight. I had to fight my uncles. I had to fight my daddy. I had to fight my brothers. Girls ain't safe in my family, and men. She's gone there with us. It feels real color purplish, and it's and I'm not saying that if in fact all of this is true, it's not justified. But why don't we get proper evidence and 100% backing to things before we go ahead and begin staring narratives? You have a huge bankroll. You are going to be able to put out a grand production pretty much on alleged accusations.
Russell Simmons did deny it.
And staring, of course he did.
Right.
And staring narratives. I think it's a very divisive and very dangerous tool. I think somebody in Oprah Winfrey's on her status, on her behalf, she would know better than this. But we've heard from a lot of horses' mouths that she's done things like this. And it kind of pains you because of the success that she's gotten being a black woman and things like that, and the donations and the charitable things that she's done out here for people. How can you talk against the things that she's given? But certain moves that just make you go, damn, Sophia, what you doing, man?
And my thing is as well, it's like not the fact that she should put him on blast. Like, again, if it happened, do your thing. We don't condone none of that sexual assault stuff, not like that. But the fact that we don't really have no evidence to really look at is the kind of the same thing with the Michael Jackson documentary, how she brought, the people on the show. Mm-hmm. I think it's Safe Chuck and Roebuck, whatever the fuck their names was. You know what I'm saying? She brought them on and kind of helped them put their story, made it mainstream. And being who Oprah is, like when she says stuff, it rings bells. Tens of millions of people are now going to see this. And now you're pretty much backing it. So now you're pretty much using your platform to smear Russell Simmons' name in a way, that, what no other person can do. You know what I mean? You don't see nobody like Dan Rather or nobody like that, going at it. It's sad because it's our own, kinfolk. You know what I mean?
To take it that level, you don't see a Dan Rather going in on Weinstein or another dude or another dude, whoever's out there, them nasty motherfuckers out there doing whatever they're doing. You don't see what is that, surviving Harvey Weinstein or this or that. But we seem to want to put on these grand productions. And that's not, and I want to have this conversation for the black women listeners on this podcast. This isn't to disrespect any black woman just because R. Kelly's doing it or Bill Cosby or even who we got up there now, Russell Simmons. Mm-hmm. We're not trying to disrespect black women by saying that, okay, why are you doing these things? Why are you doing these things? But we got to keep it 100 saying that sometimes the male perspective isn't properly represented. And we get railroaded a lot. Not to say that a lot of the times you guys don't get disrespected too, because you do. Right. But a lot of the times we get railroaded, and we have to have proper conversation and context to that too. So by no means are we trying to disrespect. I know it's coming. Trust me,
I don't think nobody's going to take it like that. It just, it's just a tough situation because again, I want to make this clear. If this indeed happened, do what you got to do. Use your media outlet, you know what I mean, to do it. But if we don't really know if it's just allegations and Russell Simmons saying, nah, look, I didn't do this. I mean, he did admit that he was a sex addict, I guess, but that don't got nothing to do with that, though. You just because somebody admits that they're a sex addict don't mean they will sexually assault you.
At
just
all.
Don't. A lot of people put that together. So I don't like it. I got to be honest with you. I don't like it. But again, throughout history, just because people were your skin folk, you couldn't count on them to be your kinfolk, especially in tough situations like this. You would think, oh, okay, yeah, you know what I mean? They share the same struggle, the same plight, boom, boom, boom. They're going to rock out with me. And ain't always the case.
And wild consensual orgies 20 years ago should not equate to sexual assault 20 years later. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm saying that a lot of that went down. And just because fluid was exchanged don't mean that somebody sexually assaulted.
It's like Cuba. Like it just is weird how once one thing happens, now everybody
and they mama
gonna come out. Now I know what the person, the novice is gonna say, or the people contrary, they're gonna say, well, people come out now because they got the courage now. You know what I mean? He did this to all these people, so they seen one person come out, they came out. It could be that, or it could be it's people that this person may have had some type of sexual encounter with. And they see dollar signs and it's a money grab. It could also be that too.
Facts. A lot of the time it's that too.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man. It's a harsh world we live in, but we got to call it how we see it, man. And when we see it, it is what it is.
I think Russell should probably try to sit down with somebody after this airs and explain his story with the major media outlet, or you think the silence is the best policy?
He's one of them dudes. He's high on his meditation. He's high on the positivity, like the vegan and things like that. I don't know if he's going to come out and get offensive with this and claim his innocence. I don't know if he'll have people in his corner to come out and maybe talk on his behalf and kind of denounce it, Kamora and his ex-wife and people like that. I don't know.
Right.
But it's not going to look good when it's come out because we've seen the pitchforks and we've seen them lighting them sticks before, and they about to light them for Russell Simmons.
It's going to be on Apple TV. It's going to be at the Sundance film. So
it's coming. It's on.
Yeah.
And it's going to be everywhere as soon as it do.
And also the person's name who was mentioned is L.A. Reid. She's pretty much saying that Dixon says she left Def Jam only to be harassed by L.A. Reid at another major record label. This is according to XXL's, article that they have on this. Crazy.
Pitchforks and them fire sticks is coming.
Man.
Sophia's on a rampage.
Yeah. But yeah, man, you're tuned into the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast, the most dangerous podcast out there right now. I want to jump over to this next story, Sam. Man, I know this one's going to be a great one to end the show off today. Well, the Game sat down on Power 106 FM out there in LA. Shout out to them with Nick Cannon, and he talked about an encounter that he had with the great Suge Knight. Let's play this clip and talk about this.
Okay, man.
West Coast hip hop. Your story's being told as a boss.
Yeah, I've been face to face with Suge with guns drawn,
right?
On both sides,
right.
I done been like Suge rode up on me one time at the Vibe after the Vibe Awards after party with like 60 gangsters, and he wanted to press for something I said in my song about him, which I said it because I'm from Compton. I'm really from Compton,
right?
And I felt like Death Row and Suge and that whole era took so many lives that didn't get mentioned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In the city. And a couple of those was friends and big homies. And so I said a few things about Suge that he didn't like, and they rode up on me. But at that time, I was 25, bald head with like 7X khakis on, and I wasn't having no type of back down. And I drew my gun on all of them. And I held my own. And from that day forward, it was nothing but respect with Suge. I throw jabs sometimes, mainly because I can, and everybody know that, I'm an asshole sometimes. So that's what I do. But I talk to Suge from the inside. Yeah. He does have a different perspective on life, and he should have a different perspective on life, because where else do you go here? I mean, go from here with, being, how you used to be. Like, shit, it's got to be 50. You know what I'm saying? 50 plus. Yeah. And so, yeah, man. But at the end of the day, man, we can't take away what he did give. You know what I'm saying? The pop.
So, yeah, he goes in to talk more about some of the positive things that Suge Knight, did. If you want to see that full interview, you want to go to YouTube and type in Power 106 FM out in LA. They got that full interview available for your whole consumption. Sam, man.
Great plug, old guy.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think, though, about the Game? He looking pretty, he got all these gray hairs now, looking he's stressing a little, man. I don't know.
Maybe you know not, what? But anyway, yeah. I'm glad Game don't ever do a podcast, and here's why: we enjoy the stories. You know what I mean? At certain times and certain
exactly,
things.
Yeah.
Great time, great content. I mean, he's a great storyteller, and it was a great story to hear. We remember the Game. I remember the Game. I love the Game when he came out. He was a wild bull, Compton crazy dude. He reminded me of the old Death Row days, to be perfectly honest with you, with Pac and Snoop and those brothers over there. And he was on G Unit doing his thing, and then he beefed with him, and then we had the 100 bars of running, 200, 300 bars of running. Then he was beefing with this person, that person, and he really kind of put his name out there as being one of them lyrical animals. So we had a lot of respect and appreciation for Game early on, documentary days, you know what I mean? Early on. So I appreciate the storytelling, man. I do.
And I would just say, if indeed all aspects of this story is how he said it went, and I don't have no reason to believe that it ain't go how he said it went, but shout out to him. I mean, if that's what you used to do back in the day, and I mean, I would do the same thing if I had some heat on me and dudes trying to come at me. I'm pulling it out on them.
Well, I got it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna just hold it. So, I'm not taking nothing away from them, but like you said, it's great to hear these type of stories, every now and then. Not all every day, so it's a great thing, man. Hip hop is one of the greatest, I would say, genres out there, the culture of it, because it's us and we get to tell our life story, through that and, through the media outlets, through the rappers and stuff like that. That's the part that I enjoy about it all, man. Definitely.
And something to kind of extend on, we were talking about behind the scenes is something we're excited to start transitioning on is we're going to still rock the news stories because this is what we do, but kind of talking to people face to face, eye to eye, so that we can get a real perspective and talk based on that, as opposed to giving our opinions on somebody that we may not necessarily know. Although we do give the news and we give that perspective, and we love to give our thoughts on that, and love the ears that appreciate the thoughts. Sitting with somebody and being able to dialect and rap with them face to face. If we had a Game sitting here, we could talk about some of the things that we have opinions on during the news stories. Would make for great content, great conversation, and gain a respect for one another. It would be dope. Looking forward to that in 2020 with that transition, man. And it's exciting, man.
Yeah, I definitely just can't wait, man, to start bringing people in, to our new studio and just having some real good conversations with them, man. This was going to be a great thing coming up real soon. So y'all just got to stay patient with us. Y'all have been, but through this transition very, very quickly. But we gonna be changing things up for the better. Definitely.
Looking forward to it. I mean, and only been in this shit for 2 years. Let's not get it twisted. I know we on here 4 days a week, and we got damn near 300 episodes in the box that y'all know of that we started counting.
All right.
But it's fresh, man. I think we've been doing this together for 2 years. Collectively been doing this period for maybe three and some change. Ain't been a long time, man. So appreciate y'all sticking around. Appreciate the grind. Game, don't start a podcast. Appreciate this
he
stuff.
Might be the next one to do it.
I hope not. And that ain't no diss to him. It's just like, dog, it's so watered down. Like, no disrespect to a T.I. If T.I. dropped the album tomorrow, I wouldn't care. Just because
talk too much.
I don't want to hear it. You talking on the podcast, you talking on her podcast, this podcast, explaining yourself on that podcast. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
I remember the Rubber Band Man and the mystique behind that. Got to read about that motherfucker in the magazine.
Yeah, that was man. That was everything.
I missed those days.
Listen to Paper Trail, listening to his life story on the track. I like that, man. But that is what it is. All right, we're gonna jump to rapid fire real quick, Sam. And I got something that came down just a few minutes ago, and it deals with the Major League Baseball. Pretty much, the article says that MLB reportedly no longer tests for marijuana, but it has new testing rules for opioids. What do you think about them no longer testing for marijuana?
Great for the MLB. I'm going to look up some statistics real quick because I don't know the statistics of race in that, because that's an interesting conversation, because I believe African Americans, blacks, are probably on the lowest scale of that percentage.
Probably.
Hispanics very high. So I mean, a shout out to the brown people that's involved in that. But it's also America's sport. It's also the good old boy sport. So why not decriminalize it in the sport that probably fills the most whites outside of hockey than any other sport in America?
He says about 42%, and this is an estimate.
42% what?
Black.
God damn, in the MLB.
Let me see. With people of color making up 42%.
Okay, so black and Hispanic.
Yeah, so it says African Americans, about 13%.
Okay,
it's decreased, but yeah.
Okay, so about where I thought.
yeah, ain't like a 70.
About where I thought. So I mean, interesting. I would love to see it in the NFL. I would love to see it in the NBA.
Yeah,
and other sports around the world begin to decriminalize on a plant that never hurt a soul, never been proven to hurt anybody, even though they're going to try to start some wild shit. They're starting with the vapes and things like that. And I mean, it's never been associated or should never have been associated with an opioid. We see people dropping the opioids daily. Never seen anybody dropping the marijuana. So, I mean, great for the MLB and those Bulls over there. And hopefully other leagues will follow suit.
Yeah.
America sport. That's funny.
Yeah, man. But definitely another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast is in the books. We back tomorrow. Fuck shit Friday. Get ready. Get your seatbelts buckled. We going in tomorrow. Go ahead.
I got one more rapid fire for you.
No doubt.
Fuck shit Friday.
Yeah.
You ain't want to talk about your mentor today, dog?
Who?
Come on, man.
We'll get to him tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's give him another day. We'll give him one more day.
Your mentor.
We'll give Abdullah another day. Umar Abdullah one more day with that photoshopped ass picture. You gotta read the people's comments. They're like, nah, it's Photoshop. Nah, it's not Photoshop. It's crazy,
man. At the end of the day, where's the interview? And Charlamagne, come on, man. We'll talk tomorrow, man. Fuck shit Friday. We're excited, man.
Yes, sir. Episode 279 is in the books.